disgusted by my existence. Nothing excites me any longer. Every day the same flavors, the same colors. Beat of my heart sometimes feels like a punishment.
In For I Am Dead, you really see the main character go through this journey of really being disgusted and hating himself and his desires and who he is, and slowly changing that until in the end he accepts himself and sort of gives himself permission to love who he loves and look back fondly on those memories because he is dead and nothing matters anymore. So I liked the way that his disgust with himself was portrayed in Jude when he was seeing his love interest, who is a man. He's seeing him as the devil because it is something that in his society is not accepted. Like homosexuality is disgusting, it is looked down upon, and so he does not want to accept that that is what he wants and he desires in his life, so he's seeing that as something from the devil. So he's seeing his love interest as the devil himself. And then that changes into Jude being loving and caring, and him in death looking back on him confessing his love to Jude as the sweetest moments of his life. And he's regretting not doing more, but also accepting that he was born in the wrong time and maybe sometime in the future it will change, which is sad for today because in a lot of places we're in that exact same situation as they were like 100 years ago. I think that film is also saying something about how little we've come, maybe not in the US, but also elsewhere in the world. A lot of things have not changed, and I think seeing this brings awareness to that as well.
Wow, I felt like this was a very poetic, sad and poetic film, but a really interesting take on the struggle of sexuality and being socially accepted for who you are, and how it's still so much of a struggle today, unfortunately, for people. But we have come far, but not far enough. It was such an, just such a struggle for this person in this film, and the anguish that was portrayed, especially toward the end. I felt like most of this was taking place in his memory, which I thought was really neat. The tone of this film was set so well by the location, the estate shots in and outside of the estate, the costumes, the use of color and the lighting. All of it was so well done. The production value was high. I thought, you know, the woman who wrote, produced, and directed this did a great job. Just hats off to you. I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful film and a wonderful job. Such attention to detail. The cinematography and the lighting, of course, were really great. The sound effects with the fire and the tones in the beginning, and the music was great and beautifully done. I also just loved when there wasn't any sound, background noise at all. The use of silence was really well placed and used very wisely. I did feel like he was mostly alone and just in his memory this whole time and was committing suicide, and it was just so sad but so poetic. It felt like a poem come to life. And yeah, just really interesting and very well done. Perfect tone to this film, and just really across the board great performances by everybody, especially the two males in this film. I just thought it was outstanding, very genuine and believable. Great job, everybody.
I think For I Am Dead does an excellent job of conveying an excellent use of ambiguity. It constantly keeps you guessing, but it also does a really phenomenal job of answering all the questions it sets up by the end. From what I gather, every character in this short, except for the one who dies, is not real. at least in the sense that they're part of his imagination as he passes. We learn the story about how for lack of a better word, I guess the aristocrat, he was gay, and his family did not approve and disowned of him. And he had a hidden relationship that he eventually abandons and for many years is left alone. And all that guilt and resentment caused him to drink and smoke until eventually it all comes back onto him. And as he's dying, he's essentially reliving that past. But we don't know that until the end, which I thought was very neat, how you constantly had to put all the pieces together until you get that final narrative. All in all, very creative, and I definitely enjoyed it.
I really liked this. I thought this was really intriguing. This kind of idea, he starts it out with like how he hates himself and finds himself disgusting and all of these different things. So to have that be your starting point with the person that's narrating it in your like main character is really interesting, just because having that be your introduction to how this person feels about themselves, like seeing everybody else interact with him is clearly not how other people feel about him, but then you learn that it's because he's wealthy and, you know, he kind of just gets everything unchecked and everything else, and then you introduce this character who doesn't, you know, bend to his will or, you know, bow to his every whim, and that is really interesting because he is so intrigued by the character and he's so attracted to or whatever else by this character and this dynamic. And then you learn about death and like they add another level into it of him even being told like, you've been poisoned, you're gonna die in X amount of days, and what that kind of does to a person and how they kind of evaluate and look at their life and look at different aspects. And then just kind of having him kind of spiral from there, but also keep going back to that same relationship, keep going back to this same kind of, I wouldn't say obsession, but this same kind of love, the same kind of attraction that he has that has been, as far as we can tell as the audience, the only one that hasn't gone exactly the way he wanted it to, with him getting exactly what he wanted. So I thought it was really interesting.
Really captured the excess, the lavishes and pleasures of his life that just kind of led to this dead end of despair and emptiness. But that chemistry, once the groundskeeper walked in, was just so palpable. Everything changed. I loved this tussle of power imbalances, of danger, of release, of torture. Just felt like a very twisted cat and mouse game, and diving into some great content filled with the ideas of shame and guilt, being seen for who one really is. And I just think that they really brilliantly captured the mood and the atmosphere through the soundscape, the set dressing and locations, and that allowed me to really indulge in the story as well. I thought it was quite professionally and excellently done.
Love the title for I Am Dead, tying it all back together at the end, where, you know, no matter what I feel, what I did, who I wronged, or how I might have changed, none of it matters, for I am dead. It was just a very nice button and tying it all together. I think standouts for me were the man who played Lucifer, the devil, death, whatever you want to call him. Definitely held his own in those scenes, and the maid, when she ran over to refill the drink and he just stopped her, she ran back. That was really funny. I also thought it was really good script writing when he was saying there's nothing wrong with me, when he went to get him a doctor and he was like, there's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing wrong with me, but also reinforcing that stereotype of being gay. There's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing wrong with me. I also liked the ending with the smoke of the fire, where really death by fire happens in the lungs and inhaling all that smoke. So it was a combination of that and the heartache, and you could see the symbolism of the fire and the heartache kind of hitting him all at once.
I love their costume design and scenery in and out of this building. They are transporting us to a different time period, and they did an excellent job there. They gave us as well a sensible approach to childhood trauma, being oppressed and self-restraining due to the fact that you might not be accepted by your inner circle or people around you. Then you have these ghosts of the past haunting you, but this character still chooses love above all, and it's just nice storytelling with an important twist. It was an excellent job.